بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله. Today is the 3rd of Ramadan, 1441 after Hijrah. We have reached chapter 62 of Kitab, at-Tawheed, and the title of the chapter is Frequently Making Oaths. And the chapter starts with the verse from Surah Ma'idah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَاحْفَظُوا أَيْمَانَكُمْ, guard well your oaths.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف المرسلين وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين وعلى من تبع هداهم إلى يوم الدين. This is a chapter called in Arabic ما جاء في كثرة الحلف, meaning what is being revealed from the Quran or the Sunnah or the Aqwal al-Salaf, the sayings of the Salaf, regarding saying an oath frequently. Basically, that this chapter, the link of it with the book, which is Kitab, at-Tawheed, that when the person says a lot of oath, that shows that this person has no fear in Allah Azza wa Jal regarding this oath. He does not give the oath the weight that's supposed to have. As soon as you say the oath, you should be really abiding by it. And that shows as well the amount of Tawheed in your heart. If this person makes an oath by Allah, this person in front of him straight away has to believe. But because these people these days, the Muslims I'm talking about, they have no caring regarding the oath because of the fear that they're in their hearts regarding the Almighty Azza wa Jal is not that strong. You'll find this person, when he says, you by Allah, the other person is, is not even caring. So if you say by Allah, you don't say by Allah, you are what you are. And even worse than that, we find in our country, when this person says, by Allah, I did not do it, the person in front of him, he will not believe. But if he said, by the honor of my mother or the honor of my sister, then he would believe. Subhanallah. So that person in front of him, he's in an environment made that this oath by Allah is nothing. Regardless how many can make an oath by the Allah 100 times, I don't believe you because you don't care. But if he said by the honor of his mother, that means my mother is a fornicator if I'm a liar. Straight he will believe him. And this oath is shirk. That's the great link with this chapter title and with the book is called Tawheed, Monotheism. So when he says here, قال الله واحفظوا أيمانكم, and guard your iman. Surah Al-Ma'idah, verse 89. I would like to ask you, please, the co-host as well, our brother Khubayb, to mute yourself, because every time you make a noise, so every time you want to talk, unmute and talk. وَاحْفَظُوا أَيْمَانَكُمْ, keep, observe, give consideration, look after your أيمانكم. أيمانكم means here your oaths, not إيمانكم, أيمانكم. Now this can be said on 4 things. That means preserve your iman, don't make a lot of iman, don't make a lot of halif, which is oaths. So that's number 1. Or it means that if you made an oath, fulfill it. Or it means if you have made an oath but you have violated the oath, you did not fulfill it, expiate. Or it means that don't make oath except by Allah. So which one is which? We have a great principle. If the text in the Quran or the Sunnah can accommodate for more than one meaning, then we don't implement it on one certain meaning unless we have a proof. So this وَاحْفَظُوا أَيْمَانَكُمْ, observe your oaths, it includes the 4 meanings. And I repeat them again. Number 1, don't make the oath all the time in your tongue. By Allah, this is good. By Allah, this car runs perfectly. By Allah, this laptop, if you want to purchase it, is top of the pub. So making a lot of oaths. Don't do that. Observe your iman. Or it means that if you made an oath, fulfill it. Don't violate it. Or it means if you have violated the oath, let's say, for example, you said, by Allah, I'm going to do this, and you didn't know what to do it. You didn't do it. Then expiate. It's going to, inshallah, explain each one individually. Or it means that don't make an oath by other than Allah. Like the example I gave, person makes an oath by the honor of his brother, the honor of his sister, the honor of, or usually the honor of a female, because my sister is a fornicator. If I'm Allah, then the person believes him. That makes an oath by other than Allah. That's a shirk. So when we say don't increase in the oath, this is the oath that is you have an intention to make the oath, not the oath that the Arabs when they talk, Wallah ya akhi ma shuftu, Wallah rah, Wallah ajah. He always says by Allah this garden, by Allah he came, by Allah this came to my place, and by Allah. He doesn't mean the intention to make the oath, and that's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala he said in Surah Al-Ma'idah, لا يؤاخذكم الله باللغو في أيمانكم ولكن يؤاخذكم بما عقدتم الأيمان. Allah Azza wa Jal does not hold you accountable for what you say as laghu. Laghu, that means you're not really mean it. You just make it like as a tongue word, holding your tongue. Okay? It is not, that vain, vain sort of speech. Does not, take you accountable for that. But he takes you accountable. عقدتم الإيمان. What is عقدتم? That means you have made it with a knot. عقدة. And that means you have the intention in your heart. This is an oath I'm making by Allah. So your heart with it. It's not the one that is a tongue, on your tongue, that's a slip of a tongue. So if it's a slip of a tongue, it's not accountable. But we say as well, please don't make it all the time your tongue like this. It's not to be, it's a lot. But but the one which is your heart behind it, don't make a lot of oath. Because that means the people in front of you, they're not going to stop believing you when you say making an oath. Because, brother, you make oath all the time. All the time you say, Uqsimu billah, Uqsimu, Qasam say, Qasme. And then I've heard from lots of brothers from Pakistan, Qasme, Qasam say. Qasme, Qasam say. And then people, have you stolen my car? Qasam say. Well, brother, you do Qasam say all the time. I mean, why should we believe you now? We always say, Qasam say, Qasme. So that is that observe your iman. Make it for something which is worthwhile. Okay? Number 2, if you made the oath, fulfill it. But this is not all the time. Because the Prophet ﷺ said, if a person made an oath and he saw something better, then let him break his oath and expiate. Sometimes you have to violate the oath and break it. An example, he said, by Allah, I'm going to boycott this believer, brother. SubhanAllah. So to you, brother, how can you boycott somebody who's a believer? It's very good. You have to break your oath and not boycott him, and to go and join him and maintain a relationship with him and expiate for your oath. Don't keep the oath. Or said, by Allah, I'm going to help you, brother, to go and steal from somebody's car. This oath, you have to break it, because you cannot help somebody on making haram. وَتَعَوَنُوا عَلَى الْبِرِّ وَالتَّقْوَى وَلَا تَعَوَنُوا عَلَى الْإِثْمِ وَالْعُدْوَانِ. Do not help one another in making sins and evil. In this type of oath, I have to break the oath and I will expiate. So, but if the oath, fulfilling it or not fulfilling it, is the same. So for example, I said, by Allah, I'm not going to go to Birmingham. And Birmingham is not really essential for me. It's better to fulfill your oath. Don't go to Birmingham. Okay? So don't go to bed unless you've been pushed. Your mother is there, she needs help. You go. If you have made an oath like this where violating the oath or keeping the oath is equal, then keeping the oath will be better. The third one, that if you have broken the oath, you violated the oath, you did not fulfill it, then you must expiate. The expiation of the oath, okay, is as follows. One of two, and one of them has got choice of 3. So one of the two. So you have to go to number 1. If you can't do number 1, you go to number 2. But number 1 has 3 choices in it. And those 3 choices, you choose what you are comfortable with. So number 1 you have to go to it is either you free a slave, and of course there is no slave to free. So the other choice is either to feed them people, poor people, from your meal, Like for example, you're eating, mashallah, meat, and you're eating falafel, or very simple food, hummus. So your meal to the one you feed the poor person is in between, mixed with falafel and hummus and meat. So don't give all of it hummus, and don't give meat, because unless you want to do, mashallah, but it's from your average meal. Or clothe 10 people, poor people, clothe them. So you give them soap, each one. So you've got a choice here. It's number one. You have to go to number one. And the number one is 3 choices: free a slave, or feed 10 people, or clothe 10 people. You've got a choice with them. You're a slave, you could free it. Or you've got a slave, but you don't want to free it. You want to go for the feed it to the 10 poor people. Or you don't want to feed, you want to clothe the 10 people, no problem. If you can't do number one, they go to number 2. Number 2 is only one, and that is fasting 3 days. Fasting 3 days, it doesn't have to be continuous. You could break, you make them one day and then relaxation another day. But what is better? Of course, to fast the 3 days together is better, because then it will be expiation quickly, right? And Allah Azza wa Jalla said, وَسَارِعُوا إِلَى مَغْفِرَةٍ مِّن رَبِّكُمْ. Allah says, hasten the process to gain the forgiveness of your Lord. So now explained, observe your oath. وَاحْفَظُوا أَيْمَانَكُمْ. That is, don't increase in the oaths which are your heart is behind it. Don't increase that. Number 2, if you did it, okay, don't violate unless you have to, because it's haram to fulfill the oath. Or number 3, if you have violated the oath, you have to make the kafara, the expiation. Now, number 4, which is, we said, that is to make an oath by other than Allah. Abdullah ibn Mas'ud said, I would rather make an oath by Allah, yet I'm a liar, on to making an oath by other than Allah, yet I'm truthful. I mean, it is less sinful to make an oath by Allah, yet you are a liar. He said, by Allah, I have done it, and you haven't done it. You're a liar. Great lie. But he said, by my mother, or the honor of my sister, I haven't done it, and you haven't done it. You're truthful. That's shirk, because you made an oath by other than Allah. That's worse. See, that's how the companions, they understand this. It's knowledgeable. They understand the danger of the shirk and the danger of the crime. So the major sin, okay, is not as sinful as the minor shirk. So this minor shirk, which is making an oath by other than Allah, is minor shirk. It's shirk of the tongue. You don't mean that your honor of your mother is better than Allah, but shirk of lafz, shirk on your wording. This is worse than the biggest of all crimes, like from fornication or lying and all of that. So alhamdulillah, we understood this. Now we go to the following hadith in the chapter. Fadhal.
Abu Huraira radiyallahu anhu reported that he heard the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alayhi wasallam saying, making oaths hastens the sale of goods, but eradicates the blessings of the earnings. And this was recorded by Bukhari and Muslim.
Right. So here this hadith, which is recorded in Bukhari and Muslim, the Prophet said, he said, al-halif, making an oath, manfaqatun lis-sila. It makes your good sellable. You could sell it easily. That's in a community which respects the oath. Okay? But, in this country, because with the disbelievers, you say, I swear by God. Well, I don't know which God you are swearing by. You're swearing by the idols, by the cow, or by... How can you swear by God and you are an atheist anyway? So the swearing by the God, it doesn't make sense, doesn't make a difference. It's a Muslim community. Prophet said, this swearing, and you are in a non-Muslim community, but you're talking to somebody who respects the oath. This swearing by Allah, okay, it makes the good to sell quickly. You might sell it very quickly. Okay, so this oath, which is lying oath, it could be upon one of the 4 things. It could be, for example, on the item itself, or it could be about the type of the item itself. So the item itself, or the type of it, or it could be the description of it, or it could be how much is it, the value. So, for example, this person is making that this, okay, item is made by such and such factory, and this factory is well known. For example, it's brand. Okay, let's say it's a brand. So it's like, so which is known to be very good. He gives you a brand name and he's lying in that. Or he is lying regarding the type of it. He says, for example, it is the make of it. It's made of stainless steel. Actually, it's from not stainless steel. Okay? Or lying is onto the description of it. For example, is that it is very good. Or, you know, it's fantastic. Lying about. Or the fourth one, the value. Wallahi, by the way, Wallah, I bought it for such and such. Wallah, it cost in the market such and such. Or you could be lying on all of them. That is the type and the make and the description and the value, and also the item itself. You could be lying on all of them. Okay? So that's called lying into this and will make yourself going to be selling very quickly. Then he says, mamhaqatul lil-kasb. But this will remove, another hadith, mamhaqatul lil-barakah. It will remove the kasb, the earning. It will destroy the earnings. How does it destroy the earnings? Two ways. Either the actual destruction of the earnings, that Allah Azza wa Jal will send you something that will take away all this profit that you made by haram means, by this oath which is haram. So you made an oath, you sold this good and you made profit. Allah Azza wa Jal strikes you with an illness to your son. You end up paying for him for the hospital. That is much more than the money that you have gained from that haram profit, for example. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had sent you wind and took the roof of your house, and you're not being, you have to go and repair it. Also, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala struck you, for example, into an accident in your car, which had demolished your car and the insurance did not pay you anything. Which is haram to have insurance. I'm just saying that you have an insurance, didn't pay you anything. So you lost the money. That's called the actual destruction of the earnings. But there's another destruction, that you have the earnings still with you in your pocket, in your bank, you made the earnings, but there's no barakah. You find that, subhanAllah, why is it coming quickly? There's no such, for example, wind taking your car or an accident or a son of yours, you want to go to the hospital, but the money, no barakah. Why is it finished? I go to the supermarket, I end up with nothing. And I find a few bags here. And you start calculating, where's the money gone? I spent so much, what is it? I spent 400 in my shopping, what is it? I give this my wife, because there's no barakah, because he made it out of haram. So this is the destruction of the barakah, of the blessings of the money. Wal-iyadu billah. Following hadith, please.
Salman radiallahu anhu reported that the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alayhi wasallam said, "Three are the ones that Allah will not speak to, I will not purify, and for whom is a painful punishment: the white-haired aged fornicator, the arrogant beggar who has dependents, and the person who has made Allah his merchandise. His selling and buying is only done by making oaths by him." And this is recorded by Tabarani with a Sahih Isnad.
Okay, this hadith is recorded by Tabarani, at-Tabarani al-Saghir. Because Tabarani got Tabarani al-Saghir, Tabarani al-Awsat, Tabarani al-Kabir. In his book, at-Tabarani al-Saghir, with Isnad Sahih. Also, we have Silsila al-Sahih of Shaykh al-Albani, rahimahullah, the number 3461, on the authority of Salman, that three people will not enter paradise. Number one, al-Shaykh al-Zani, the old man who is a fornicator. Wal-Imam al-Kadhab, and the lying Imam. Imam here, Imam of the Salah, Imam of a community, the Sheikh, the lying Imam. Wal-A'il al-Mazhu, and the person who is A'il, who is got dependence, and also has got poverty, yet he is showing off. He's got arrogance. So those also, there's another narration, which says, instead of ثلاثة لا يكلمهم الله, okay, it says three people لا ينظر الله إليهم يوم القيامة. And this is the Tabarani al-Kabir, Tabarani al-Kabir, which is authentic as well. Three people that Allah will not speak to them, but there's another narration, three people Allah will not speak to them, He will not look at them on the day of resurrection. So three people will not speak to them, and three people, okay, who will not look at them. Now, speak to them, Allah speaks with a letter and a sound. And when we say Allah speaks in reality, real speech, it doesn't mean that He has the tools of ours that He needs to speak with. For example, we need like a wind pipe here and wind strings and and as well tongue and to move and lips to move and teeth. That's nothing to do with Allah. Allah speaks with letter and sound which is audible, understandable. Musa salam heard it. Muhammad salam had heard it. And Adam had heard it. Okay? And they understood. Allah spoke to them with his sound, with his letter, but suitable to his majesty. Why do we have to jump to the conclusion, oh, if I said Allah speaks, that means he's got similarity with a human being or this creation, then let's say Allah does not speak. This is the Mu'tazila. This is the Jahmiyyah. Those are the ones who take away the attributes of Allah away from him. They're worshipping nothing. Their Lord has got no description. There's got no attributes. Because if you add an attribute to him, that means straight away you make him similar to his creation. Subhanallah. So when we say now, common sense, the leg of the table, who amongst you jumped to his mind when I said the leg of the table? This leg of this table has hair, has a knee, and has 2 ankles, and it has toes. Unless you're crazy, you've got no mind. Because you know the leg of the table, it could be made of wood, it could be made of metal. It's a leg of a table. But the word leg does not take it to my mind straight away. My mind is going to say, leg's got knees, and the leg might bend, so it's bendable leg. No. So this is comparing things which are created with things which are created. The leg of the table is created, and me, I am created. Yet we can't make a comparison. Straight away, we can make a comparison between me, the creation, with the creator, Allah Azza wa Jal. SubhanAllah, why these people are sick-minded? He speaks, which is suitable to his majesty. Please, co-host, get into everybody inside. Jazakumullah khair. So, he is comparing the creator with the creation. That's not right. Allah speaks with a sound and a letter. Now, also the narration, Allah will not look at them. What is this a sign? A sign of anger. Now, Allah does not speak to them. Allah does not look at them. You know that if Allah does not speak to you, does not look at you, that means you have been deprived from the mercy, which you are needed of on the day of resurrection. You might have lots of sins. So you're going to be thrown to the fire. Because if Allah looked at you or Allah spoke to you, He might say, oh, forgive him. Let's tell us off. But now you have none of the option. You're not going to look at you. That's why when we interpret the hadith of showing off by your garment, Prophet ﷺ said, مَا أَسْفَلُ الْكَعْبَيْنِ فَفِي النَّارِ. What is below the knees is in the fire. That's from the thobe. Not the thobe itself, the person, the thobe did not do anything wrong, the thobe. But the person who puts that thobe, the garment, and make it longer than his ankles, okay, is in the fire. That's a threat. And there's another hadith, but he who does that, khuyala means arrogance, pride, Allah will not speak to him. Which one is worse? Some people think, oh, in the fire. No, he will not speak to him is worse. Because that's a threat, you're going to be in the fire. But if Allah speaks to you, he said, well, he will speak to you and he will say, forgiven. But if you're not going to speak to you, that means you're going to be deprived from that option. That option is going to be gone. So if you got haram, you're going to be thrown into the fire. So if you do it out of pride, is extra punishment. Allah will not speak to you. But if you did it not out of pride, still you're going to be threatened. You're going to go to the fire. Maybe you will be punished, maybe you're not. So here, that's the question. So, but we know that Allah Azza wa Jal speaks even to the mighty kuffar. Allah will speak to those Fir'aun and all of them. See what you're going to taste in the punishment. So what's so special that he's not going to speak to the one who is not, who is the person who does, the oath all the time, or this Ushay Madzani, or the A'il Mustakbir. What is it? Here we say that this is the talk of the mercy. You're going to be deprived from the talk of the mercy. Allah is talking to you. Why did you do that? Why did you put your garment below your ankles? Talk of the mercy. That's the one you're going to be deprived from. As for the talk of the punishment, that will be going to everybody, where the person was wicked and evil and the one who's been deprived from the talk of mercy. Same thing with the look. There is look. Allah Azza wa Jal is going to come, as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He said in the verse that He is going to come. هَلْ يَنْظُرُ إِلَّا أن يأتيهم الله في ظلل من الغمام. Allah will come to them above, in the clouds, not inside the clouds, and above. Everybody's going to see him. But that look to see Allah is not the merciful look. That when you're going to be sitting in Jannah, waiting on your couch, on Jumu'ah, waiting to see Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's the one you're going to be deprived from it. The look of mercy, the look of the mercy, the speech of the mercy, that's you're going to be deprived from. So now let's go to the hadith. It says, those three people are, and they got severe punishment. He started with, Allah will not speak to them, and I will not purify them. Said, you've done purification, that's it, you're finished. And you're going to have a severe punishment. Ooh, three threatenings, very awful. First one, Ushaymat al-Zani. Ushaymat, if you put Ushaymat in the hadith search, find only that hadith. Plenty, just Ushaymat. Ushaymat al-Zani. Ushaymat means is the one who's got his hair being adulterated or has got mixture of grey hair into it. It means gone old. That means old, grey hair. So this is Ushaymat al-Zani. And he is a fornicator. You know, when you reach the age where you grey hair, subhanallah, how can you think about fornication? I mean, when you are young and you're powerful, you're lust, and your mind is always below the belt, that's something else. I mean, excuse it. You know, I would not say excusable, but we understand why you did fornicate. Somebody who's on a stick and hardly can move or move anything. And he said, reminds me of a hadith of Ka'b ibn Malik radiallahu anhu. The hadith of the three people who were left behind in the Battle of Tabuk. And they had no excuse. Okay, and the Prophet ﷺ commanded all the companions, okay, all the companions to boycott them. And not only that, in the last 10 days as well, there was 50 nights. The last 10 days, he said to them that they should as well, their wives, to avoid them. It's marital relation, to avoid them. So he said to Ka'b, to his wife, go, khalas, to your family. They can't make the intercourse. So one of the women, so she went to the Prophet and said, Messenger of Allah, my husband is dependent upon me. He's old, he can't move. I have to help him. He said, but he cannot intercourse with you. You cannot intercourse with him, he cannot intercourse with you. Messenger of Allah, there is nothing moving in him. You understand what I'm saying? It means it's got nothing. I'm not going to explain more than that, but the lust is dead on him. You don't have to worry about that issue. I'm just helping him to go from one place to another. The sexual thing is out of the question because, you know. So that is what I'm talking about. A man in such a stage, yet he's searching for fornication. That means fornication is something embedded in his nature. He's bad. That's why Allah will not speak to him. Allah will not look at him. And Allah will not purify him. And he will have a severe punishment. Because it's part of his, a'udhu billah, his evil soul that he fornicates. The second one as well, the same thing. قال وعائل مستكبر. Person who's got dependent and he's poor. Okay? How can you be arrogant, akhi? Person who's got no ground to be arrogant. عائل مستكبر. He has no ground to be an arrogant. You know, the arrogance here is either it could be in the soul itself, in the person, or the arrogant in the description. The worst is the arrogant in you. You are poor and you are arrogant. I mean, we understand somebody's got a nice car, somebody's got a nice house, somebody's got a nice clothes. You start to showing off. It's no good, but it's understandable. It's like the person who is young, fornicates. Understandable. We understand how. But this person has got nothing. And yet he walks like this. He's got nothing. You have nothing. What are you going to show off? So this shows that his evil soul is, a'udhu billah, mixed with arrogance and evil. That's why, what is the arrogance by the way? Arrogance means you don't accept the haqq. And arrogance means you look down at the people. Two things. Arrogance, you don't accept the haqq, reject it. And arrogance, you look at the people as to be nothing. And you are on top of them. You are better. That's the arrogance. Huh? As a Prophet ﷺ, when asked, what is the arrogance? He said, بَطَرُ الْحَقِّ وَغَمْسُ النَّاسِ or وَغَمْتُ النَّاسِ. بَطَرُ الْحَقِّ غَمْسُ النَّاسِ غَمْتُ النَّاسِ. And that means you don't accept the haqq. You look down on those people. SubhanAllah, ya ikhwani. So this is the second. The third one, he said, وَرَجُلٌ جَعَلَ بِضَاعَتَهُ لَا يَشْتَرِي إِلَّا بِيَمِينِهِ وَلَا يَبِيعُ إِلَّا بِيَمِينِهِ. And the person who made his merchandise is what? He purchased and buys and sells with his oath. And the whole hadith is because of this. That means the oath of his, either this oath which is truthful, but this is not allowed because we said we don't increase in the oath by making the oath all the time. By Allah, qasam say, it's not good. Because that means you don't have fear of Allah when you say qasam say. You're putting Allah on your purchasing of a laptop or a computer or a car or something like this. How can you? Leave Allah aside, ya akhi, on this oath. Take an oath of something which is, got some value in it. Not like this. Okay? If you are a liar, then you've got this following 4 things. Number 1, that you are basically feeling insignificant, that the oath is insignificance, and it's actually you are opposing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala when He said to you, وَاحْفَظُوا أَيْمَانَكُمْ, observe and keep your oath. And also, second thing, lie. Number 3, devouring the wealth of people with falsehood. Number 4, if your oath was an tipping oath, cozy oath. What is that? It is you are trying to take the due right of somebody else. The lying oath. That will impose for you the hellfire. من اقتطع, he who does take out من حق أخيه, حق امرئ مسلم بيمينه, any person with his oath takes a due right of a brother, okay, Allah will make the fire his destiny. قد أوجب الله له النار. Prophet ﷺ used to ask, even if it's a siwak, you take it, even ولو كان قضيبا من أراك, even if it's a siwak, he took it with no right. And he said, this is mine by Allah. So this dipping oath, al-yamin al-ghamus, will dip in the hellfire. And there's no expiation for it, except that make tawbah to Allah. Not just for example, expiate by feeding some poor people. No, you can't. Fine. Alhamdulillah, you understood that. So now we come, and by the way, we are human beings now, we're listening. We have to implement what we listen. This is for us to learn and to reap the benefits. So we are as well dua, we're listeners, we're going to go and tell others. Because we are inheritors of the prophets. Because we are inheritors of the prophets, that means we have to convey the message and warn other people of these oaths which is taking place all the time. Okay? This taking your oath as a merchandise. Right, let's go now to the following hadith.
The Sahih records on authority of Imran ibn Hussein radiallahu anhu that the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alayhi wasallam said, the best of you are my generation, and then those who follow them, and then those who follow them. And Imran said, I do not know whether he mentioned this 2 or 3 times after mentioning his generation. And the hadith continues, then after them will come a people who testify when they are not asked to testify, who betray and are not trustworthy, and who make a vow and do not fulfill it. Fleshiness or obesity will appear among them.
What is the last bit?
It says fleshiness here, but I'm not too sure what that means.
Okay, fleshiness. The flesh. Meat.
Obesity.
I don't understand obesity. Everybody understands obesity. Right. Okay. So this hadith, when it says in Sahih, again, here the Imam hasn't got, it could be Sahih Bukhari on its own, could be Sahih Muslim, could be the both. And in this case, in both, Sahih Bukhari and Muslim. On the authority of Imran ibn Hussein, companion, radiallahu anhu, he said that the Prophet said, Khayru ummati, he said, best of you. It's actually the best of my ummah. Not the best of you. The best of my ummah. Khayru ummati. The best of my ummah, qarni. Qarni here, he translated as generation, my generation. Okay, we're going to explain inshallah that. Then the one after, then the one after. First of all, khayru ummati, the best of my generation is, best of my ummah is my generation. Here, qarn. Qarn, it could be either that the qarn, which is the people of the qarn, or the time of the qarn. Which one? As the hadith says, khayrul qurun qarni, the best of the centuries is my century, the best of the times is my time. That's not authentic. There's no such hadith like this. Khayru ummati qarni, khayrun nas qarni, yes. So here is either he talks about the time zone or he talks about the people on that time. So if it is the time of the zone, the scholars are different. What is the time zone here? Is it the qarn, which means 100? Or it could be 120. Someone made it 80. Someone made it even 100 years. So it's either 100, 80, or 120. And if we looked at the age of the companions, the last companion, he had died 120 years after the revelation to the Prophet ﷺ. So he had died after the revelation of 120 years. And if it is to do with the followers after the companions, the last one, he had died 180 after revelation. And the ones who after that, which is the third one, because he said 3 generations, ya khayru ummati, then the ones after, then the ones after. Okay? And this is Imran, we don't know, he mentioned it, did he mention that twice or 3 times? Actually, there's another hadith mentioned it 4 times, 4 generations. And the last one, which is the tabi'in, the followers of the followers, the last one died in 220 after Hijrah. So if we had said that the Sahaba's century time had started from the revelation that came to the Prophet ﷺ, it would have been 133 years. Because 120 plus 13 in Mecca. Okay, because remember the Hijrah is after 13 years of Mecca, 133. And that means the Tabi'un was 60 years and the followers of the followers, they were 40 years. Okay. That depends upon some of the scholars. Islam he says something which is, most of the scholars vow to it, and I'm inclined to follow it. Shaykh Islam, he says that it depends upon the generation that we have. For example, if it's more companions than the followers, then this is the generation still of companions. If it's generations of more of the followers than the companions, that's the generation of the followers. If it's generations full of followers and the followers of the followers, if it's more followers, then the followers will take precedence. If it's followers of the followers, it's the generation of the followers of the followers, so on and so forth. So we have now 4 generations, as I said, mentioned in the authentic hadith. He has mentioned 3, and there's a doubt 1 or 2, the 2 or 3, but actually there's 4 generations which are to be on the khayr. Here, when we say upon the khayr, قال خير أمتي upon khayr, that's in general. Okay, that's in general. And when it says the generation, the ones after, less in good than the one before, that's in general. Okay, first of all, as for the Sahaba, are the best. No one can be better than the Sahaba. No one. So the Sahaba, the companions, the disciples of the Prophet, no one. You could be better than a companion in one particular thing. Like for example, you make siyam more than one particular companion. More siyam, fasting than a particular companion. If you add up your good deeds with his good deeds all together, you cannot reach the companion. No way. Because the Prophet Allah said, لو أنفق أحدكم مثل أحد ذهب ما بلغ مد أحدهم ولا نصيفه. If one of you to spend in charity the weight of a mountain of Uhud in gold, it will not reach the same level of rank and virtuity and righteousness that the companion, when he spends just handful of barley, not gold, handful of barley or half. It means if the companion spends a handful of barley or half of it even, in Allah's sake, it will be more rewardable than your spending a mountain of gold, mountain of Uhud in gold. No way. Can't reach the companion. They are handpicked. They're being chosen by the Almighty. Those companions, the best. That's why the scholars had said, who is a companion who's not a companion? A companion who saw the Prophet ﷺ or met the Prophet, but could be blind. He met the Prophet ﷺ, even for a little time. And then he believed in the Prophet. And then he died upon Islam. Out of this, the one who did not believe in the Prophet. Out of this, who believed, and then later on, they have disbelieved, and that is a kuffar. Out of this, who believed in the Prophet before the Prophet, became a prophet, and yet died before they met the Prophet. Like, for example, Bahir al-Rahib, he's not a companion. He met the Prophet before he came a messenger, and he believed in him. Yes, he's a good guy, man, but he's not a companion. And also, out of it as well, the ones who had met the Prophet of Allah did not believe in him, and later on believed in the Prophet after the Prophet had died, like Ka'b al-Ahbar, Ka'b ibn Mati', Jewish rabbi. He met the Prophet, did not believe in him, but later on in the time of Umar al-Khattab, he embraced Islam. So he became a Muslim, but he's not from the companions. So that's why there's a study, who's a companion, because there's nobody with them. But the generation after them, and the generation which are better than the one after them, compare. There is better and better. For example, we have that Umar ibn Abdul Aziz. He came in the 3rd generation. Okay, he's better than the one before him in the 2nd generation, like al-Hajjaj. The followers from the Hajjaj, he's better than them. Hajjaj is still companions. He killed Abdullah ibn Zubayr. And Umar ibn Abdul Aziz, he came in the third generation, yet his Khilafah was compared to the Khilafah of Umar radiallahu anhu. He was so good man. But in terms of time-wise, still the generation in totality of the followers, when Al-Hajjaj is in it, better than the generation which came at the time of Umar ibn Abdul Aziz. Because at the time of Abdul Aziz, there were lots of parties and had emerged. All these sects and all of that, they were emerged at the time. Sects at the time of Umar ibn Abdul Aziz, or the time of the followers, few, not all of them. Okay, so that's in general. And that is well explained to us. We're having, for example, Ad-Dajjal and Isa. Isa alayhi salam, that's an exception. He's going to come after Isa. So yes, the Prophet said, مَا مِنْ عَامٍ وَالَّذِي بَعْدَهُ أَشَرٌّ مِنْهُ. There is not a year would pass except the following year will be worse. حَتَّى تَلْقَوْا رَبَّكُمْ, until you meet your Lord. This hadith was narrated by Anas radiallahu anhu. When the people of fuqaha, scholars, at the time of Baghdad, when the Hajjaj was doing, so they came to Anas. They're asking him as a companion to start a coup. This man is bad man, he's killing everybody. Killed more than 120,000 people. So he said to them, what do you want me to do? And I make an uprising? Then he said to him, by Allah, there is not a year would pass except the following would be worse until you meet your Lord. I've heard that from your Prophet. سمعت ذلك من نبيكم. سمعته من نبيكم. I've heard that from your Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So we say that in general, the generation as follows. The best companion, no comparison. Then after that, the one followers in general. Okay, no one can compare themselves to the companions. And then the followers of the followers, in time-wise, in generation-wise, the followers better than the followers of the followers. But in individual-wise, you could find somebody who is from the followers of the followers better than the followers. Understood that? Alhamdulillah. And he says, after you, then will be people who will testify, and they will not ask to be testifying. What does that mean? That means they testify straight away without knowledge. Or they hasten to the testifying, they testify quickly, okay? And that is shows that how hasten, they don't give any sort of importance to that. They just testify. That's the meaning of it. They testify, and they will not be asked to testify. That means they testify without being called to testify. That's because they don't know anything. They testify in ignorance, they have no knowledge. And also it means testified, so they are called false liars, false witnesses, lying witnesses. Or they hasten quickly, it shows that they don't have any consideration of how his testimony is to be, so they don't care about it. So both meanings are correct. Third one, he says, that is, they betray and they do not, and they are not to be trusted. The people that don't trust them, that means they are embedded in them. They are betrayers. Embedded in them, they are betrayers. Those are the ones. And the last phrase, which is to do with our hadith as well, قال وَيُنْذِرُونَ وَلَا يُوفُونَ وَيَظْهَرُ فِيهِمُ السِّمَنُ. And they vow and they don't fulfill their vows. And fleshliness, he said, and also fleshliness, okay? And also that they have obesity. That means these people, they care about feeding their body more than they care about feeding their heart. It doesn't mean if you're a person now who's chubby looking at me, oh, I'm in the hellfire, I'm no good. No, this is out of your control, but you are a person supposed to be as well looking after your iman. It's like as much as you look after your food. Some of us maybe got illness, that's why they get fat. But it's not good for the person to eat and eat and eat and eat with this greediness. Okay? حَسْبُ امْرِئٍ لُقَيْمَاتٍ يُقِمْنَ صُلْبَهُ. It's enough for a person to support himself few morsels. Okay? I mean, I cannot understand a sheikh making himself a sheikh where he's about 6 by 6, 7 by 7. He can't even walk. And if it's illness, no problem. But the sheikh's not supposed to be there. It's supposed to be the one who's looking after his health as well, just as much as he looks after his iman and deen. And unfortunately now, when we think about a sheikh, what does it come to your mind? Man with a beard, with a hat, a belly sticking about 2 meters in front, and when he makes the Fatiha, he rests his hands on top of his belly like that. That's a sheikh for you. That's in our country like that, because food, whatever, because they're Sufis. There's a Sufi, they go from one gathering to another gathering for food. MashaAllah, nice food. Keep eating. To the belly. This is, and I go to the fire. This body of yours is going to be eaten by the worms in the grave. When you need to care about is your iman. Last hadith, please.
My daughter is with me.
Yeah, go on. Your shit. Doesn't matter.
It also records the hadith of Ibn Mas'ud that the Prophet ﷺ said, "The best of people are my generation, and then those who follow them, and then those who follow them. Then there will come a people whose testimony will precede the oaths, and whose oaths will precede their testimony." Ibrahim said,
Okay,
while we were young,
Abdullah ibn Mas'ud, this is the hadith. This hadith means that basically the same thing as we said before, but we add here that means that their testimony precedes their oath, and their oath precedes their testimony. It means they have no caring, no consideration, whether it is to fulfill the oath or to bear the oath or to basically or the testimony. They don't really care about the testimony or the oath because there's no fear in Allah. There's no fear of Allah in their hearts, and they have no caring. They are inconsiderate. People going to care. Well, testimony is nothing. Making an oath by Allah is nothing. Last thing, Ibrahim said.
Ibrahim said, while we were young, they would beat us to instill the importance of being true to our testimonies and pledges in us.
Okay, beating us, that means to discipline the children. The beating, I don't like the word, but discipline the children. Okay, this is Ibrahim, okay, that from his saying that he is the child, Sabi, not the child, we call him the child, which is not an adult, that his testimony is to be accepted, because he said we used to be beaten for the testimony when we were young. Okay, now this is where the scholars have differed. What does that mean? Some of them, they said that for fulfilling a testimony, you have to be an adult. If you had made a testimony where you are not an adult, your shahada will not be accepted. Some of them, they said, no, the children, the non-adult testimony is accepted against one another. Okay, because usually it is the case when you have a testimony of children, let's say, fighting with each other. It will be very rare that we'll find an adult there to, for example, to be a witness. So the children can be witnesses against one another or for each other because they will together. So the witnesses of them together is accepted. Some of them, they said that if the children had testified straight away, their testimony would be accepted, because sometimes they forget, sometimes they've been said to them to say something. But if they saw something, that their testimony, okay, that will be accepted because it is being said straight away and the memory is still there. Okay, otherwise the right will be lost. Okay. Anyway, we learn from this is that we are allowed to discipline the children, but not beating. The word is not really, because the beating could be anything. It could be hitting, whipping, punching, all of that. That is not accepted. Go to the issues of Allah and go quickly, please.
Number 1, the advice to guard oaths.
Guarding oath, we said 4 things. Guarding the oath, that means not to make a lot of oaths for anything, which is the oath that you have a belief on it. And number 2, that is, if you made the oath, fulfill it. Unless it's haram to fulfill it, then you have to break it. Number 3, if you have broken the oath, you have to expiate. And we said expiating by 2 things. Number 1, you go to number 1, you got a choice of 3. Either free slave, or you could free 10 people, or you clothe 10 people. You got a choice of these 3. If you haven't got number 1, you go to number 2, fasting 3 days. It doesn't matter whether continuous in consequence or not. The third issue, the fourth issue, that you don't make an oath by Allah. Making an oath by other than Allah, that's violating the saying of observe your oath. Now, number 2.
Making oaths hastens the sale of goods, but eradicates the blessings.
So it eradicates the blessings, okay, and also eradicates it literally as well. Allah will take it away from you in the dunya by giving you a disaster. Number 3.
The severe threat made against the person who only buys and sells by making an oath by Allah.
Because he's making an oath by other than Allah, Allah will not speak to him. We said Allah will not look at him, if you remember. And also Allah, we said that He will purify him and give him a severe punishment. Number 4.
A sin is regarded more grievous if the motivation for making it or doing it is weak.
So you get more punishment because there's no motivation. An old man fornicating, you're going to get more punishment because you have got no motivation. You're not young to fornicate. Person who's got nothing, no money, and he's got dependent, and yet he is acting arrogant, he's got no motivation. You're going to get more severe punishment. Now, number 5.
The censure or the severe disapproval of people who make oaths without being asked to do.
Okay, so these people are making their merchandise or making the oath. No, right? We said that, by the way, sometimes Allah, for example, we have, this is not really on generality because we know that the Prophet ﷺ, he had made an oath, yet he was not being asked to make an oath. And Allah Azza wa Jalla actually had asked him to make an oath in 3 places in the Quran without being asked to make an oath. So Allah, he said in Surah Yunus, قال أحق هو قل إي وربي. Say, if they've been asking you, they're not an oath. قال, say yes, by my Lord. زعم الذين كفروا أن لا يبعثوا قل بلى وربي لتبعثون. Kuffar, the disbelievers, said that they're not going to be resurrected after your death. Say to them, yes, by your Lord, by my Lord, you're going to be resurrected. And also in Surah Saba, وقال الذين كفروا لا تأتينا الساعة قل بلى وربي لتأتينكم. They said that the hour will not come. Say, by my Lord, it will come. So that's an oath. Okay, without being asked for an oath to make it. So coming now to the 6th now.
Number 6. He sallallahu alayhi wasallam praising the 3 or 4 generations.
It comes to my mind as well the hadith of al-Rubayya into Muawwid, when she had broken the teeth of somebody else and they wanted the arsh, the retaliation. So Anas ibn Nadr was his sister. He said, they're going to retaliate by breaking the teeth. He said, by the one who sent you the tooth, it will not be broken. So the Prophet didn't prescribe punishment here, Anas. It means he's not really opposing the prescribed punishment. He's saying that Allah will, and actually these people accepted to take the money instead of breaking the teeth of his sister, Ar-Rubayya. And also the Prophet said, لو أن فاطمة بنت محمد سرقت لقطعت. If by Allah, if Muhammad's daughter Fatima is to steal, I will cut off her hand. Nobody asked him to make an oath, yet he made an oath. Number 6.
He sallallahu alayhi wasallam praising the 3 or 4 generations.
Number 7.
And he's mentioning the censure of those who would give testimony without being asked to.
And number 8.
The Salaf would beat or discipline their young to instill the importance of being true to their testimonies and pledges in them.
Well, number 2, number 1, regarding this testament, the discipline of the children, you have to know that the children is able to understand the discipline. If he's a little child baby, you can't discipline him. He has to be able, like 4, 5 years old, 6 years old, he understands. But not somebody who doesn't understand what you're hitting him for. The baby or all that, that's not allowed. And also it has to be from the person who's got some sort of authority on him, a father or a mother, not anybody, a brother hitting a brother. And also it is not going to be extreme beating. It's not right and allowed. Or also it has to be from somebody who did something fault, a proper fault, not anything. Like for example, by accident, you can't just, by accident means like he did not mean it. Okay? So we can't really beat him up for that or discipline him for this. Right? And when you discipline the child, you discipline the child for the disciplining, not for the sake of revenging for yourself. Wallahu ta'ala a'lam. By this, alhamdulillah, finish chapter 62. And we give you the question and answers. You've got only 7-8 minutes, please. Jazakumullahu khairan. So as the hands raised up, and we would like, please, you as Khubayb, because this class is actually for those people who are in tutoring. So if you really recognize people, you could unmute them and call their names to ask the question. Please, Ya Khubayb. Khubayb, you are the co-host. Khubayb? Ahmed, am I audible?
You are audible, Sheikh.
I think Khubayb is gone. Okay, just go on. Give the go ahead and ask.
I unmuted Faisal, I think.
Sorry?
He has unmuted Faisal Ibrahim, but he's from Florida.
No, listen to me, Khubayb. He doesn't know how to co-host. Khubayb.
I don't know. I don't recognize anybody's name, Sheikh.
Do you want to leave it to Ahmed, please?
No.
Yeah, khalas, just mute yourself. Unless you have a question. Yalla ya Ahmed.
Sheikh,
I do.
Go on, I have a question.
What's the difference between tariq and sabil?
Tariq and sabil. What's that got to do with our class?
I was gonna wait till later, but
Okay, just wait for your question then. Go on, our class quickly.
Sheikh, we have a person here. I think he's a Muslim. I don't know if this will be appropriate, but it seems he's been fed poison and lies against the author of this book. And he is asking, his exact question is, why are we going over a Wahhabi book? I don't know if we could stretch out a hand to him in this time because the time's tight, but is there anything you can say to this brother, Sheikh?
So if we stretch our hand to a
Perhaps he's genuine.
So if we stretch our hand to a Taymiyyah book, is the story going to end up? Or they're going to call Ibn Taymiyyah Wahhabi, which they have done. And even Ibn Taymiyyah, between Muhammad Wahhab and Ibn Taymiyyah, there is more than 500 years. So they're going to say Ibn Muhammad. They have even called him, Imam Ahmad to be Wahhabi. So they're calling somebody who's in the past with the name of somebody who's in the recent times. So where is the end? The story is going to end up. We read Kitab Ibn Taymiyyah, all Kitab of Tawheed, Ibn Manda, we read them as well, and Ibn Abi Hatim, Al-Razi, Abi Zur'a, sorry. All these books of Tawheed, we read them. Okay? And the Nasafi, we eat as well. Baghawi, we read for them as well. So all of these scholars, we read for them. So I don't understand why that we say that Wahhabi, subhanAllah. This one Wahhabi, where's it coming from? Okay, this is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, وَلَا تَنَابَزُوا بِالْأَلْقَابِ. Do not call yourself names. You're calling yourself names, you're Wahhabi, Did the Wahhabi call themselves Wahhabi? It's haram to call this name. It's not haram to some of the scholars, Allah Azza wa Jalla blessed them with knowledge that Allah made their books to be prevalent, whether you like it or you don't like it, whether you don't like it or you don't like it. Okay, some people now are enemies of Shaykh al-Albani. They're so jealous. But whether they like it or they don't like it, still we say this hadith made authentic by Shaykh al-Albani, not by us, by scholars. So these people are jealous. Let them be jealous. So Allah Azza wa Jalla made the books of Shaykh al-Islam ibn Taymiyyah is to be prevalent. It's fatawa. Shaykh, and his name is Shaykh al-Islam. Shaykh al-Islam, rahimahullah. Allah gave him this blessing because God. And Imam al-Bukhari, any person who goes against Imam Bukhari in Sahih, Allah will doom him. Either he will be in prison, either Allah will make him scandal. Because it's Bukhari. Look. So if Allah will bless Bukhari, so Rawahu al-Bukhari. And if Allah blessed the Albani, that whenever قال رواه فلان الترمذي وصححه الألباني. This name of Albani is being stuck to the names of those, mashallah, stars. They are stars. Bukhari, Imam al-Tirmidhi, Imam al-Muslim, Imam al-Dawud, Imam al-Nasai, Imam Darimi, all of those Imam Ahmad, his name is stuck to them. Allah wanted him because Allah made him to prosper because he's a genuine guy, he's a genuine person. His books made to be prevalent. If Allah loves a person, He will put His love into the earth and everybody can love him. I can't stop that. So this word Wahhabi, where does it come from? From the Sufis, the one who hates. The Sufis, the enemies of Islam. They made a booklet about Mr. Hamfer, which is a spy from the British spy, that he met the Imam and they made together, this, subhanAllah, conspiracy against Islam. And when you look at this book, by the way, you could see, wal'iyadu billah, that the timing of that does not synchronize with the timing of Alhamdulillah time when he was in Iraq. They met him in Baghdad. But the timing is not the same. And then, alhamdulillah, we have a confession later on. Who is the one who made this book? It's not Mr. Hamfer, Mudhakkarat Hamfer. It's actually one of the Rafidah. He made this book. A confession, alhamdulillah, is on his now on the websites. So he made that book. So, akhi, save yourself and let's save ourselves instead of start biting into the flesh of those scholars on the day of resurrection. The currency is not pound and money. You cannot satisfy Muhammad Wahhab by saying, please take £500 and let them on earth in my bank account. Take £5 million, but don't take from my hasanat. No. He's going to take a lot of hasanat from you. And these scholars, if you made backbiting of them, they're going to take from the hasanat. You don't have hasanat, they'll give you some of their sayyah. They do have sins as well. They'll give it to you until you'll be dropped in the fire. So listen to the advice of those scholars. Like Imam Ibn Asakir. He said, إِنَّ لُحُومَ الْعُلَمَاءِ مَسْمُومَةً وإن عادة الله في هتك أستارهم منقوص معلومة فمن أطلق لسانه في العلماء بالثلب ابتلاه الله قبل موته بموت القلب. Something I memorized when I was young, subhanallah. That Allah Azza wa Jal, He had made the flesh of the scholars to be poisoned. Poison. That means if you bite into it, you'll be poisoned straight away. And also Allah has got a universal law. The one who deprived them from their honor, the one who speak ill against them, that He's got a universal law that He will expose them. He will demolish them. And he who does let his tongue go in reviling and insulting the scholars, Allah will strike him with a dead heart, even you are alive. So you are alive, but you have got dead heart. So those people who speak ill, always look at them about Wahhabi, look at their hearts, ill, dead, have no, Sharia does not move them away from the deen, or just saltation, no deen, no ibadah. Because Allah made their heart to be dead yet before the physical death takes place. By this, I have to, Jazakallah khair, conclude this talk because we do have time for dua, inshallah, for our iftar, bi'idhnillah. Subhanakallah bihamdik. Ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. I apologize, but tomorrow we have a session just for questions in Luton. No talk, just questions. Okay, question time in Luton at 7 o'clock or 6:30, I think. I will tell you inshallah time, and it will be just 4 questions inshallah in Luton. Jazakumullah khairan. Subhanakallah bihamdik. Ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. Barakallah.